The resonance scanner hums. Every student in the Ironville Tone Academy's main hall holds their breath. 112 candidates, all 19 years old, all carrying the practiced calm of people who have rehearsed this moment 10,000 times in their sleep. The air smells like polished stone and the faint metallic edge of concentrated vibration, the scent of power about to be measured. Kale Voss steps onto the platform. He isn't nervous. He never is. He spent 3 years studying every published text on resonance classes: sword tone, the shatter call, the harmonic sovereign, the echo devour. He memorized the 42 cataloged class types, their combat applications, their theoretical upper ceilings. He trained his body to function under high-pressure sound environments. He prepared more thoroughly than anyone standing in this hall. Examiner Solon places the resonance rod against Kale's sternum. The scanner flickers. It reads. It reads again. Then it flatlines. A single tone rings through the hall. Not the ascending chime of an awakening, but a low, flat drone. The sound of nothing. System. Resonance output detected. Silent. Class designation null. The silence that follows is worse than the drone. Then someone laughs. A short, clean sound, like a blade being drawn. Drevkane, 20 years old, already registered as the only active S-rank sound hunter in the Varick City Circuit, here as a guest observer, because the Grand Chorus Guild likes to watch talent emerge. He's leaning against the far wall with his arms crossed, silver bracer gleaming, the kind of man who has never once doubted himself. Dead note, he says, not loudly, just clearly, which is worse. You trained for this, and your output is literally silence. He looks at the council table. Solon, why is he still on the platform? Examiner Solon doesn't even hesitate. He marks the ledger with a single line. Contingent Kale Voss. No resonance class detected. Expelled from enrollment. Effective immediately. He looks up with the practiced indifference of a man who has done this before. Collect your deposit at the east desk. Kale doesn't move for 3 seconds. He reads the scanner. He reads it again with his own eyes, not because he thinks it will change, but because he needs to be certain of what it shows. It shows nothing, or what looks like nothing. He steps off the platform. He picks up his bag. He walks through the hall with 111 sets of eyes tracking him, and he doesn't look back at a single one. He makes it 15 steps outside before a guild runner catches up to him. Contingent Voss. The runner's tone is professionally neutral. Grand Chorus Guild. We have a mission assignment. Kale stops. I just failed enrollment. Correct. This is a non-hunter mission. Designated Bait Runner. S-rank Silence Beast has nested in the Varick Rift. We need a non-resonant body to draw it toward the killing corridor while the licensed hunters close the perimeter. The runner hands him a contract. Compensation. Your full 3-year tuition deposit returned. Risk rating, high. Kale reads the contract once. He signs it. Because he has 3 years of debt, no class, no certification, and no other option today, and because something in the back of his mind, something he can't name yet, is still reading the scanner's result. Not as nothing, as something it couldn't measure. They give him a torch and send him in first. The Varick Rift opens like a wound in the earth, a canyon that hums with inverted sound, where the air presses against you in waves you feel in your back teeth. Silence beasts are the rarest class of enemy in the resonance world, creatures that don't make noise, but absorb it, turning the air around them into a vacuum that collapses lungs and shuts down human resonance output. Every licensed sound hunter in the corridor behind KL is holding their class active just to keep their abilities online. KL has no class to hold. He walks in silence because he has no other mode. The beast finds him in under 3 minutes. It's massive, a cathedral of dark matter and compressed anti-frequency 40 meters tall, its body a slow-churning inversion of the air around it. It doesn't attack with sound. It attacks with the removal of sound. The first pulse hits Kale like a wall. He doesn't collapse. He staggers. But he doesn't collapse. The beast pulses again. Harder, the way a predator tests something unfamiliar. And something inside Kale's chest responds. Not with pain. With a sensation he has no word for yet. A deep, widening pull, like a door opening inward. System. Anomaly detected. Non-standard resonance response. Analyzing. A third pulse. Stronger. The guild hunters behind him are screaming for him to run. Their own classes are flickering, destabilized by the proximity. But Kale is standing still now, because the pull in his chest has become something he can feel as pressure. A gathering like a lung filling. He is not being hurt. He is being fed. System. Class designation H revised. Void Ductor. Forbidden classification. Record sealed 1,000 years prior. Description. Absolute resonance absorption. All sound-based input converted to personal void frequency. No ceiling detected. Warning. Void Conductor is classified as a hard counter to all active resonance classes on record. The status window hangs in the air in front of him. visible only to Kale, burning white against the dark. He reads it once, then he turns to face the beast. The silenced beast fires its largest pulse, the kind that shuts down entire corridors, the kind that has killed S-rank hunters before. It hits Kale like a wave. He breathes in, he pulls. The void frequency inside him doubles, then doubles again. The way silence can keep growing past every room you thought contained it. He raises his right hand, not dramatically, just raises it, the way you'd reach for something on a shelf. He exhales. The resonant void releases as a single, clean wave, a pulse of absolute silence fired outward, carrying everything he absorbed. It doesn't boom, it doesn't crack, it simply removes. The space in front of him ceases to carry sound or resonance for 1 full second. The silence beast falls apart from the inside out, not because it was destroyed by force, because its own anti-frequency, every pulse it fired, returned, overwhelmed its structure. It fed him, and he gave it back. System. S-rank silence beast, eliminated. Solo clear register. The corridor goes quiet, real quiet, the ordinary kind. The kind that follows when something enormous stops happening. Then Drev Kane's voice cuts through it, tight and high with a register Kale has never heard from him before. What class was that? Kale turns around. Drev is at the perimeter line with 6 other guild hunters, all of them staring. Their resonance output is still flickering. The proximity to the Void Conductor class has destabilized their connections. Drev's silver bracer is dark. His class is offline. Kale says nothing. Drev's jaw sets. Whatever this is, it's a threat to his ranking, to his standing, to the architecture of the whole ranked system that put him at the top. He reaches into his coat and draws his resonance amplifier, a Class S instrument custom-built, capable of a Shattersong strike that has flattened 300-meter targets. Show me your class registry, Drev says. Now. I don't have one, Kale says. Solon cleared me as null this morning. You were there. Then explain what I just watched. I absorbed it, Kale says. Simply. The beast's resonance. Your destabilization field. Every stray strike your hunters fired into the corridor. All of it. He tilts his head. You want to know what it felt like? Like nothing, like silence. Drev fires the Shattersong strike. Full output. No warning. The kind of strike that ends conversations permanently. It hits Kale in the chest. Kale breathes in. The strike folds inward, joins the void frequency, which is now enormous, carrying the S-rank beast's anti-frequency, hours of ambient guild resonance, and now one Shattersong strike from the East 1 ranked sound hunter on Earth. Kale looks down at his own hand for a moment. Then he exhales. The return pulse isn't louder than Drev's strike. It's quieter. That's the terrifying part. It comes out as a narrow, almost gentle wave, but it carries everything. Every collected frequency, concentrated and reversed, released as a single resonant void directed at exactly 1 point. Drev's amplifier cracks down the center. His bracer goes cold. His class connection, the one thing that defines him, the one thing that makes him Thanesha 1 ranked hunter in Varek, cuts out. He hits the ground on both knees. Not because Kale knocked him down, because the return pulse negated every active resonance in his body and the feedback dropped him. He looks up at Kale and says very quietly, in a voice that no longer has any authorities in it, "Stop." Just that. Stop. The word of a man who has run out of everything else. Behind Drev, the Grand Chorus Guild's response team arrives. 6 council-level hunters, scrambling through the corridor entrance with amplified resonance rigs, the heavy artillery units you deploy for civilizational threats. They take in the scene. The beast eliminated. Drev on his knees. Kale Voss standing in the center of the rift without a visible class active, silver-haired and unhurried, like he walked in for a practice session. The senior council hunter, a man named Aldrich Vane, who has certified every S rank in the past 20 years, raises his combined resonance rig. Class Void Conductor. Vane says, reading from a panel that just updated on his portable scanner, forbidden classification, sealed by Grand Chorus Order, year 0 of the current era. He lowers the scanner, his face has gone very still. That class was sealed because it can absorb and return the output of every resonance class in existence simultaneously. Yes, Kale says. We're going to need you to submit to a full resonance reading and class registration. I was cleared this morning as null, Kale says. Examiner